In real estate acquisitions, in order to become a top closer, it's imperative you learn how to communicate effectively with sellers. And one of the most powerful techniques is what we call mirroring. Mirroring is simply adapting your style of communication to match the seller's. Being able to do so lets the seller feel like they can relate to you. So on this video, I'm going to break down what I've identified as 7 different personas or ways of matching a seller's style of communication. Learning these 7 different personas is going to allow you to master the process of communicating with sellers, enabling you to become an effective closer in real estate. All that and more coming up.
This video is brought to you by WCL Accelerator, the only done-for-you cold calling service that sends warm, motivated seller leads to you every day. Check it out now at warmleadsdaily.com.
One of the most important things you have to understand in acquisitions, especially when dealing with distressed sellers, is that the most important thing to a distressed seller is your ability to solve their problem. Do they feel confident that you are the right solution? If you're able to demonstrate that confidence, if you're able to show authority and that you can solve the problem they're facing, usually in the form of convenience and speed, then they will choose to work with you over all others, sometimes even at a lower price than other offers they've gotten. Why? Because they trust that you're going to solve that problem. Being able to communicate that effectively and build that trust and help that seller feel like you are the right solution is key to unlocking your ability to close more deals. It's paramount to your success. And so I'm convinced that when talking to sellers, it really comes down to these 3 things. Are you asking the right questions, and are you asking those questions at the right time and with the right tone? Okay, those 3 things are what are going to allow a seller to lower the guard, open up, and feel that confidence that you can solve their problem. And so learning how to ask the right questions at the right time and with the right tonality, this is something that is a skill you can learn. It takes a lot of practice. You got to get in your reps, but I want to unlock this for you and give you the science behind it, help you really identify what this can look like. And so as I mentioned, I think there are 7 different closing techniques, or what I like to call seller personas, that you need to be able to adapt. When you start talking to a seller, you need to quickly identify which of these different 7 personas that you're identifying with. Sometimes, by the way, it can be multiple personas in the same conversation. It's just the ability to adapt on the fly based on the feedback you're getting, the information that is presenting to you. And so these 7 seller personas are the analyst, the affirmer, the challenger, the worrier, the expert, the comedian, and the idiot. Now we're going to break these down. The first one is the analyst. An analyst is a person that is very logical. They use a lot of reasoning. This is like a type A personality. So with this type of seller, it's important that you talk the data, you talk the facts. You're going to be discussing value on the property. You're going to talk about cost of repairs. You're going to be giving your rationale behind your discounted offer price. You're going to be helping that seller come to the reasonable conclusion as to why you're at where you're at. Oftentimes I'll talk about my formula. I'll talk about how I need to be at a certain profit margin. I'll talk about all these numbers that play into my ability to buy a property at a discount as an investor. And what happens here is if you're prepared with the analyst to talk about comps, talk about the neighborhood, talk about the market, talk about interest rates, talk about renovations, when you can have this high level conversation about the facts, about the data, then that seller will open up. And if it makes sense to them, if they can come to the conclusion you're bringing them to, it's going to be okay for them to sell at that price. So again, with the analyst, you're going to explain your buy formula and how you arrived at your offer price. Using data and information to justify your offer is convincing. It builds trust and it builds authority, and it helps the analyst feel like you know what you're doing. And a level-headed analyst will then come to the same conclusions you're bringing them to as to why your offer makes sense. Okay, the second seller persona is what we call the affirmer. Now, the affirmer is where you're going to be working with somebody that needs validation. They need sympathy. They need to feel empathy. They need you to agree with them. So oftentimes, this is a very emotional seller. And when you show that sympathy, when you show that empathy, when you can relate to them, when you can say, man, I feel what you're going through. I once went through that. Or I worked with a seller one time that was going through exactly what you're going through. And here's how we handled that situation. That must be so hard to have tenants that trash the place and don't take care of it and don't pay rent. And you've got to pay the property taxes. And man, that must be hard. Right? We talked to a seller recently where the mother had just died. And so I stopped everything. I stopped talking about the property and I said, are you all right? How are you doing? You're going to talk to sellers that have cancer, that lost their job, all these things that are going on. And with that type of person that's in a very emotional state, the more you can put yourself in their shoes and feel what they're feeling, the more they're going to feel confident and trust in you. Okay, this is where really good listening comes into play here. No one gets me like you do. I'm not going to talk to anyone else. You're my buyer. I had a seller tell me that one time. Now, this helps a seller feel like they're smart, like they're wise. When a seller says, I'm getting multiple offers, respond by saying, that's really smart. I would do that too. You're affirming their process, their decision-making, their thinking. And when people feel validated, they open up. It builds trust when you validate someone that they're making good decisions. The third seller persona is what I call the challenger. Now, this is where you're going to take more of a parental role and you're going to actually confront the seller's decisions and beliefs. Instead of affirming, you're now going to challenge it. And this is where you're going to push back on the seller's unreasonable ideas, hopefully to get them to see a more realistic point of view. You have to be very careful here. In the right situation, challenging a seller, it elevates you into a position of authority, and it can be extremely effective to reset a seller's position or expectations. But again, you have to be very careful doing the challenger. The challenger requires really good intuition, or it will backfire and be offensive. If you don't have a baseline of trust with the seller and you use the challenger technique, then it will become offensive, right? And I've seen people do this all the time. They challenge a seller. The seller is offended, they swear, they hang up. Sometimes I'll use the challenger as sort of like a last ditch effort, meaning I'm really trying to get through, I'm really trying to break through with the seller and nothing's working. Like they're just not coming around to a reasonable conclusion about what we're talking about. They got ideas that are just way out there that are not actually helpful to them. And we're just kind of going nowhere. We're just going around in circles. And so I may go out on a limb here. I may take a risk and come in a little bit more aggressive. There's a risk there. It may not actually work. I'm actually really, really good. I get away with this better than almost anyone else because I do it still in a loving way. It's sort of like a parent who's coming down on a child, but not in a demeaning, condescending way, but more in a loving way of like, what are you doing? This is not going to help you in your situation. And so I'll do it more like that parent role, but a loving parent, okay? The fourth one is what I call the worrier. And the worrier takes on this role of being very concerned for the seller. Now, this is utilized to help a seller see the negative consequences of their actions or inactions. You might say something like, what are you going to do if you don't sell your house before the foreclosure auction next month? Man, I'm really worried for you. What are you going to do? If you don't get this property sold, what are you going to do? If they put you out on the street, what are you going to do?
Real quick, then we'll get back to the video. Now, if you're a nationwide virtual wholesaler, then you need to check out the hottest and most affordable new lead service offered by PropWire.com. It's called Warm Lead Accelerator, or WCL for short. In a nutshell, you get 10 warm leads delivered every day, Monday through Friday, to your inbox. That's about 200 warm leads a month. Now, these are sellers that have recently been cold called by PropWire's overseas call centers and have expressed an interest in a cash offer. These leads are exclusive to you, and here's the best part. These leads only cost $2.49 per lead. You can't find a better price like that anywhere. Now, this offer is for a limited time, so don't wait. Go to warmleadsdaily.com to get signed up and learn more. Now back to the video.
Using the worrier persona, it will sometimes snap an indecisive seller into action. I once told a seller, the value in your property went down $17,000 from last year, and this was right on the Zillow where it showed the drop, and are predicted to drop even more in the next 6 months. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, but if you wait, you may not be able to sell for as much as you can today. And I'm really worried for you. What are you going to do if you can't get even the number you want today if you wait? Again, it's using a I'm very worried for you, seller, about what's going on in your life. The fifth persona is the expert. Now, the expert gives counsel or gives tips or gives advice to the seller. Now, this one actually for me is very easy and natural because I am an expert and I do feel like I have really good advice for sellers. There isn't a seller I talk to where I'm like, man, I think I understand what needs to happen here, even if I'm not the right solution. I have some advice for you on what you could do or should do in this situation. So for me, giving all the experience I have, this one is very natural. Now, if you're brand new and you don't have a lot of experience, this one may be a little bit more difficult for you to do. However, I think you can still take on this role when it's the appropriate situation. And this is where you become the coach. You may say something like, if I were you, here's what I would do. You might say something like, whether you go with me or somebody else, make sure that you fill in the blank with some sort of good advice. When a seller feels like you're giving them good advice, your authority goes up, your trust goes up, and they will respect you more. The sixth persona is the comedian. Now, the comedian is fun, they're likable, it kind of takes the tension away. It helps the seller feel relaxed, more comfortable with you. And I almost always try to bring this persona into every situation because it also just makes the experience more fun for me. I want to have a good time doing this. Even if there's hard things going on, I want to try to find ways to make this experience good for everyone. And you have to remember, talking to you is scary. You're an investor. They have this problem going on. They're worried that you might take advantage of them or rip them off. Sellers have a wall up from the minute you say hello. Your job is to bring that down. And humor can lower that guard because it humanizes you, and people are drawn to people who are funny. The comedian also finds common ground, things you both have in common and similarities as a way to be more relatable. I was talking to a tired landlord yesterday on a call, and he was so burned out. He was selling all 14 of his rentals in Warren, Michigan, my old stomping grounds. And so I was able to relate with him and joke around a little bit about how hard it is to find good property managers and contractors. And it was a way of me to joke around, poke a little fun, and relate to that seller. Always look for opportunities to make the call less serious. You'll have fun in the process as well. And finally, the last persona is what I call the idiot. Now, the idiot is where you're confused. It's the opposite of the expert. And this is where you genuinely show that you don't understand or you're just being curious as a pattern disruptor. This gives the seller a chance to explain themselves better, and frankly, it gives you a chance to try and understand their perspective. Never say, oh, I get it, oh, I understand, when you don't. I see so many of calls go poorly because the wholesaler doesn't pry more, doesn't ask more, doesn't do follow-up questions, isn't curious, isn't confused, isn't like, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand what you're trying to accomplish here. Help me understand. I'm stupid, you're smart. It's assuming that you don't know everything. This is where you have to have some humility to be the idiot. When you have the confidence to say, I don't know, but I'll find out, you become more authentic and trustworthy. When a seller tells you something, rephrase that question to make sure that you comprehend. I'll often say, so is what you're saying this? Then I'll repeat back what I heard. Be careful here not to be condescending. To play the idiot persona effectively, assume you are the dummy, not the seller is the dummy. I once had a seller right out of the gate when I asked them what price they wanted for their property. They said, I don't want a stupid price. And I said to them jokingly, I was being funny, and I said, well, somebody here is probably stupid. Let's keep talking and find out if it's me or you. And then he kind of chuckled and I kind of chuckled. But it's more of this way of like, well, it could be me. Maybe I'm the idiot here because I don't understand what's going on here and you do. It's your property. Help me understand. And sometimes I'll say to them, look, help me understand why you think that that's a good price because I'm just not seeing it. Here's a phrase that my good friend and expert wholesaler RJ Bates says all the time. If you were me, would you buy this property at that price? Maybe I'm not seeing something, but help me understand why I should do that. Or another question RJ asked, which I've adapted, is how do you think I can make money if I buy it at that price? If I buy it for that price, how do I make money? And you're asking it in a genuine way where you don't actually understand. And sometimes I have sellers say, well, you can this, and this. And I'm like, oh, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Maybe I do need to rethink where you're coming from. So it's open enough to be willing to listen and understand and change your position. So how do you get good at adapting and implementing all 7 of these personas? Well, let me give you 3 tips that I think will be helpful. The first tip is to watch the pros in action. Seeing a really good closer in action is inspiring. When you watch a pro on the phone talking to sellers, look for these 7 different personas. Write them down. Identify when they implement these. Oftentimes it's subconscious. The pro wholesaler doesn't even really know he's doing them. It's just a natural way of being. But now that you understand the 7 different personas, look for how they're implementing them. The more you can identify it, the easier it's going to be for you to then implement them on your calls. See if you can identify which one is being used while you're listening to that pro on the phone. Pay close attention to their personality, to the tonality. Remember, it's not just what you say, it's how you say it and when you say it. Tip number 2 is to role play. Now, I've been given this advice for years. Those that do will find their skill level increase significantly and rapidly. Role play is where you pretend to be the buyer and someone else plays the seller, or vice versa. And then you practice different situations. Now, I learned the value of role play almost 30 years ago when I was a missionary in Argentina. I was on a 2-year proselyting mission where we knocked doors every day and we talked to homeowners about Jesus and we tried to bring the gospel to people. And so one of the things that they had us do as missionaries is every single morning before we would go out and knock doors is we would practice role playing. And one of the missionaries would take on the homeowner, the other one, the missionary, and we would play out these different scenarios and we would practice overcoming concerns, answering people's questions. And it allowed me to really start to get comfortable in all these different scenarios. So the same thing is effective in real estate acquisitions. You can practice doing these different scenarios, and it's a powerful way to get better in a safe environment. And finally, tip number 3 is to practice doing it live. Okay, live. People ask me all the time, how are you so good on the phones? How are you so natural? Every time I listen to you, no 2 calls are alike. And you have this ability to just adapt with whatever is presented to you. Guys, I've been doing this for 21 years, over 10,000 calls with sellers. Put in the reps. Nothing gets you better than actually doing it. Until you've talked to 1,000 sellers, you're not going to be as good as you could be. And here's a suggestion that I have for you that is a very inexpensive way to get in a lot of reps. PropWire.com just released a service where it provides warm seller leads at a super affordable price. Here's how it works. Every day, Monday through Friday, you get 10 leads emailed to you. These are sellers that have been called by our overseas call centers, and they've identified a seller that is looking for an offer, willing to sell their property. And then you get 10 of these a day, Monday through Friday, comes to 200 in a month, and it's only $499. So that's $2.49. Let me ask you a question. If you can get reps in for $2.49, is that an effective way to get better at this? And I think out of 200 in a month, you should be able to close at least one of those for a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 wholesale fee, just by nature of being at the right place at the right time. If you're on the phone and there's high motivation, you can put a deal together. But it allows you every single day without any work. You don't have to cold call these yourself. You don't have to skip trace them. You don't have to do all of that upfront work. It's all done for you. Now, we call this program Warm Call Leads Accelerator, or WCL for short. It's a monthly subscription, like I said. So if you go to warmleadsdaily.com, you can learn more about it and get signed up. Guys, what a great way to get the reps in and get better at talking to sellers and make money while you do it. Now, here's what I want you to do next. Once you start talking to sellers, the very first thing that you have to do when you're on the phone with that seller is what we call discovery. This is uncovering motivation. And I've identified 10 questions that you need to ask every seller, which is going to help you identify if there's motivation, if there's distress, if there's urgency, if the property's in poor condition, and if they're willing to sell at a discounted price. So I want you to watch that video now, and I'll see you on the next video.